All right, welcome to this video. If you've got kids still in a car seat and you're looking for a more convenient way, for example, when you travel to like a big city and you don't want to lug your car seat with you, I've got a potential solution for you. This was our problem. We recently took a trip to the big city of Chicago, and instead of bringing this huge car seat with us, we decided to invest and buy one of these things. And the idea is that you can avoid public transportation once you get off of your plane or your train or whatever, and you can install this little car seat, this little booster seat, I would call it, rather, into the Uber. For example, if you are taking an Uber, and state law will say that your kiddo will need such a booster seat, right? And also, a company like Uber will have its own policy. So we're going to be taking this thing out of the box. We got a couple of them here, and they're relatively affordable, about $30 a piece, and they obviously fold up really small. And so we're going to take this out. I'm going to show you how it works, and at the end of the video, I'll go over the instructions with you from the actual manual, because this is nothing to mess around with. You definitely want to read the instruction manual from start to finish, so I'll help you with that toward the end of the video. You can fast forward if you are interested in going over those a little bit. This is the instruction manual, like I said, and we'll be doing that at the end of the video. But first, we're going to get this thing hooked up for you. We're going to actually test it out with a 4-year-old and a 7-year-old to see, how it fits, and ultimately, do we like it? Are we happy with it? So we'll go ahead and get started. You saw it come out of the box, and when you open it up for the first time, you're going to notice the quality of the actual padding itself. That's obviously the part that you sit on, or the child will sit on, and it has these pieces that kind of these red pieces on the sides that kind of slide out and slide. I mean, it's pretty simple. You just press the button, and it slides in and slides out. The button does have to be depressed for them to slide back in. Here's the material. It's a soft, pretty soft, but not like pillow-like, right? It's durable. It's got some tack, so it prevents sliding from happening. And here are those side pieces sliding back in again. So once they're out, they're out. You have to press the button for it to slide back in, and then the strap kind of wraps around like this. Now, I couldn't figure out a great way to keep the strap intact. It should be like a Velcro or something. You would think that they would have designed that, because the strap does you kind of got to tuck it, wrap it around like this, and then tuck it in this the seatbelt part. And I'll explain what this is and how that works here in a second. But that would be one potential annoying thing, right? It actually adds to the bulk of it. So let's get this thing installed in our van. So let's open it up here. Now, in all actuality, your Uber driver will probably not be a van. The idea here is that an Uber pulls up and there's an empty seat, right? Let me get this big thing out of here first. There we go. Yeah, you don't want to be carrying and lugging this thing around on your travel, right? If you've got a rental car and you're getting off of a flight, definitely prefer to carry this, because the flight will, the airline will check this for free for you. It's a bit cumbersome, but it's a lot safer than this little thing. This thing is designed for, I think, quick transport. It's not supposed to replace your car seat. So again, read the instruction manual on that. They have lots of precautions and minimum weights and whatnot. And by the way, this is not something to be installed on the plane or the train. They're not flight or train safe in any way, only for a car. But the idea is that your Uber, driver pulls up and you've got kids and you don't have your huge car seat. So you whip this thing out and you install it as per the instructions. So you're going to want to practice installing it first before your big trip, so you're not standing there figuring out, okay, how do I do this? And your Uber driver's like, come on, let's move this along. So you want to get proficient with it prior to your trip. But it's really easy. You unfold it and then you slide out these red side pieces, and those should kind of be the width of your child's bottom or hips, right? And that's supposed to, in theory, prevent lateral movement. We'll get an actual kid hooked up to this here in a second, but this is, before I do so, let me just show you kind of how it works. There's a red plastic thing with on the end of this very long strap, and that will actually attach to the seat belt. And the booster seat here is incredibly lightweight, so without a child actually sitting on it, you're going to notice it kind of sliding around. quite a bit, and that's normal. The back part you can see folds up a little bit, so if your back seat has a contour to it, it does accommodate that contour, which is, I think, a good thing. So it basically hooks up to your seatbelt like this, simple plastic strap. It's got a snap on it. By the way, click that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video if you know of a family who might be traveling with kiddos and might benefit from something like this. So we just saw, what that looks like. We're going to be testing it out. We've got a child here, 55 pounds. So we'll get her hooked up first, and we're going to switch cars, actually, because chances are the Uber is not going to be a minivan. It's going to be a sedan. So we're going to come out here to our sedan-like vehicle. And she's a little hesitant what is going on here, but what a team player. Look at that. Jumps right in. She's got her little friend here with her, Mr. Zebra. I'm sure it has a name, but... So child sits down onto the booster seat as shown. And the seatbelt requirements are very particular. So read the instruction manual. You have to have a certain seatbelt. I think most cars do, but it's possible that yours doesn't. So I'll go over that at the end of the video in the instructions. But you can see this seatbelt has a lap and a shoulder, and that's basically the requirement. It has to have a shoulder and a lap. So it kind of pulls over in one go. If you just have a lap, it won't work. If you just have a shoulder strap, it won't work. It's got to be lap and shoulder, just like this. So you get that seatbelt kind of hooked up, and you're going to put the seatbelt into those there's little hooks on the red strap down there. You can see it. The lap belt actually secures into the booster seat on the sides on those red straps. And then you hook up the long strap to the back of the seatbelt. So we'll get another view here in a second. But this is just to give you an idea of a 7-year-old, 55-pound 7-year-old sitting in it and what that kind of is supposed to look like according to our test that we did. Let's get another view here. You can see that back shoulder strap hooked up to the seatbelt just like that, and it kind of goes behind her. So if the car has to stop suddenly, it does seem to secure her well, just like that. And notice the seat belt going across the top of her legs, not her stomach. That was another requirement in the instructions, as I understood it. Definitely have that going across the top of the thighs as opposed to the abdomen. Here's another look at how that seatbelt goes across. You can see it actually hooks into the red part of the car seat. Now, what about somebody who's a little less heavy? At 35 pounds, well, right off the bat, that violates the minimum requirements put forth in the instruction manual. It says minimum of 40 pounds. To give you an idea of this, we're going to put a 35-pounder in here. We'll get him situated. So again, the Uber driver pulls up, you whip this thing out, you undo it, slide out the red tabs on the side, and you'll know, obviously this is way too wide for this little guy. So we'll press that button and slide those in a little bit. Make sure those are secure, and then we'll take the seat belt. So again, this is a booster seat, right? It's not a car seat. So we're foregoing all lateral and back padding that a car seat actually provides. So again, this is not designed to replace your car seat, but perhaps meet a temporary travel requirement if you are on vacation or something like that. So we'll get that hooked up, get that shoulder strap untangled or straightened out, have him sit back just like that. And what do you think? Do you think that fits or not? Well, he's kind of slouching. All right, we don't have now obviously that seatbelt will go through and kind of come a little too close to the neck. So the purpose of this thing is to position that seatbelt so it doesn't do that. So we'll clip it onto the seatbelt as shown. We'll adjust it, bring it down just a little bit, and then pull it tight. And to adjust this, there's not only the top buckle, but the strap buckle itself. That top buckle just flows freely, right? But there's another little red piece that you pull in and out to adjust the strap to make sure that black strap is tight. Okay, so that looks okay. Get that situated here. Notice how it kind of pulls that seatbelt away from his neck, which is a good thing. Okay, let's keep up the test here. Has such kind of small shoulders, right? So let's imagine him going forward and look at that. So I think this is not a safe thing for a child that's 35 pounds, right? So read the instructions. They're there for a reason, and make sure that you follow all those safety precautions. So we are not going to be using this with our little guy here. But for a 7-year-old, perfect. It's going to, I think, work really well. Let me undo this and show you how that is undone. You just slide the seatbelt out from the little slots. And again, you'll want to practice this before Uber Day, right? Before everyone's standing there watching you and you're on the clock. So get familiar with it. Have your child or both kids hooked up. And fold it back up when you're done, on the go. So super portable, very lightweight. And I think this is a good buy, which is why I'm making this video. Let's get to the instructions now. Definitely recommend you spend some time reading over this. This contains all the safety information. That's basically what this is about, a huge liability packet to make sure that you're installing it correctly and that your child is ultimately safe. So definitely recommend spending some time here. For example, your child should be 4 years of age, 40 to 100 pounds, 40 to 57 inches. So we'll go over some of this information here on how to properly install. It's got all the parts labeled right here in the instruction manual. And, you know, again, they're gonna basically and so looking at this, you are required and responsible for reading this and installing it correctly, as serious injury could occur or death could occur, right? All right. So a couple of things. The booster seat and the child's back must make contact with the back of the vehicle back seat, right? And you can see the vehicle lap and the shoulder belt must be properly positioned on the child. The lap belt should be low on the hips, not across the stomach or the abdomen. The shoulder belt should be centered on the child's shoulder. The lap and the shoulder belt should be snugly adjusted. Other instruction manual pieces here. A big one, do not use the booster seat in a seating position with frontal airbags unless recommended by your vehicle. And do not use the booster seat with a vehicle lap belt only. You need that shoulder strap for this to work. Moral of the story, not all vehicle seatbelts can be used with this booster seat. So definitely look through here. You cannot use this with the latch system either, unfortunately. I love the latch system, but that works with for example, our traditional car seats. They latch onto there. This one does not. Nor should you use this with side-facing seats or rear-facing seats. Should not put this near a front airbag. And again, they repeat this many times throughout the instructions. Lap belt only is not okay. You need that shoulder strap. Do not use with lap belt only systems. Or a passive restraint system, for example, a motorized shoulder belt. You know, those old school. I don't know if they still make these, but when you open the door, when you do something, you know, it kind of automates on this track. The seat belt's on this track and it moves forward and backwards. That is apparently a no-no. And something like this, a belt mounted to the door. Now, I don't know how many Uber drivers are out there, rolling around in those vehicles, but if you happen to need an Uber and you have this while you're traveling, that would not be advisable. So the instructions, prepare you for use, just like I'm showing you in this video how to actually do this. There's little gauges here. So the instruction manual, I think overall is really clear. Use of color, which is nice. Yes, it's actually in color. They don't print off a black and white one and save the color for the e-version. They actually send you a colored manual. So you get to see all these pieces in action. But it's not rocket science. You're going to fit this in, push it all the way back, fit the child in, and push these little side red, side pieces to fit snugly around your child. And this back piece kind of goes up, just like that. Again, there's that repetition. The vehicle lap belt only, do not use. You need the lap and the shoulder. Now, if your back seats kind of invert like this, you can see we have the back part of the booster that kind of angles up, which is a nice feature. So it kind of looks like that. And you want that strap to run back behind the neck a little bit. And we're going to be positioning the seatbelt into the little latches. And then it clips on. And it does say it should be about an inch above the top of the child's shoulder. And the functionality of the strap is pretty simple. You've got a top latch that opens up right here. And then there's another little piece that folds down that allows you to adjust. Do you want to make that strap tighter or looser, right? This open piece really just clips on to the seatbelt. And that's how that works. And then to remove it, you just unbuckle everything and slide it. You just reverse the process. It's really simple. And that's it for the instructions. One more thing I'll mention. You can store it. Obviously, when it's in use, you wrap it all back up. And you can put it into a glove box, your trunk, or other storage area. However, they do not want you to leave it on the seat unless it's actually secured with the seat belt. Makes sense, right? You don't want that thing flying. It's not very heavy, but they have to write that. Do not use this in a plane. That would be a big no-no. Resist the temptation. I know you may want to. Not certified for aircraft use. For washing and cleaning and caring for this booster seat, you'll wash it with, they always say this, a mild solution of soap and water, right? Who's putting bleach on this? Well, maybe if it gets pretty nasty, but obviously no bleach, just soap and water. Wipe it down, let it air dry. And you'll definitely want to register this in case there is a recall, right, for safety reasons. That does happen. It might be a year from now. It might be next week. It might never happen. But just in case you'll want to. And then it does come with registration, paper registration you could fill out. Or it looks like you could do it online as well. And that is it for the instructions.